Olympus and the human world seemed to have lost a part of their light. Psyche and Eros, two halves once thought inseparable, were now on opposite sides of a cold war full of drama. Each in their own place, their hearts ached with intense longing for the other. The days of love in the heart but reluctance on the face dragged on, tormenting the hearts of both, which had already weathered many storms. Psyche, though outwardly appearing strong and not caring, still shed silent tears on her pillow at night. The image of Eros with his radiant smile and adoring eyes would constantly reappear, causing her heart to clench. She remembered their secret dates under the moonlight, the sweet whispers like melting honey, the stolen kisses behind ancient marble columns. All of that was now just beautiful but also heartbreaking memories. Why didn't he trust me? That question lingered in her mind like a persistent, throbbing wound. The wounded ego of a mortal woman, coupled with a bit of pride that didn't want to admit defeat, made Psyche even more stubborn, unwilling to take the initiative to make amends. As for Eros, despite being a proud god, his heart was also not spared the storms of longing. Psyche's silence was like a knife stabbing his self-esteem. She dares to ignore me? That thought made Eros both angry and bewildered. He remembered Psyche's mischievous smile, the gentleness and understanding she showed him. He even remembered the way she would adorably talk back to him, making his otherwise boring divine life more interesting than ever. The wounded divine ego of a god of love, combined with a bit of pride that didn't want to lower himself first, also left Eros in a state of no less despair. Eros's first-person perspective. After that big fight, my whole world collapsed. A heavy feeling of apathy weighed down my chest, making me lose all interest in doing anything. This luxurious Villa Olympus home, which I worked so hard to buy after years of diligently spreading love, now feels like an empty, cold box. I locked myself within these four walls, avoiding everything. The job I used to love, the one that brought joy and connection to so many people, now feels like a meaningless burden. Anyone who dares to come asking for advice or help with their love lives is ruthlessly ignored by me. All that's in my head now is Psyche's image. Her radiant smile is like a knife twisting in my heart every time I look at the enlarged photo on my desk. I sighed, a heavy sigh as if I had just exhaled my last breath, feeling suffocated like a fish out of water, unable to breathe. My fancy bows and arrows and the limited edition collection of love arrows that I once cherished like treasures have also been thrown into a corner, covered in a cold layer of dust. Love. Now it only brings me endless pain and regret.
Psyche's first-person perspective. After everything that happened, I don't have the mind to think about anything else. This familiar milk tea shop where we had so many sweet memories has now become my only refuge. I hide myself in a secluded corner trying to find some peace amidst the chaos. Those tear-jerking Korean romance dramas just captivate me episode after episode. My tears keep falling, soaking my pillow. I cry for the characters in the movies, but deep down I know I'm crying for myself, for this broken relationship. To ease my sorrow, I eat nonstop, from fatty milk tea full of toppings to piles of sweet cakes. I tell myself that gaining weight doesn't matter as long as I can forget that hateful name. But alas, my heart feels like it's being squeezed and tears just keep streaming down my cheeks. The more I try to forget, the clearer his image becomes in my mind. This tricky, vicious cycle seems inescapable, and I'm forever drowning in longing and relentless torment.
Even though Eros's heart still smoldered with pain after the big fight with Psyche, deep down, the blood of a god of love still coursed through his veins. That innate romantic gene had been ingrained in every cell, not allowing him to wallow in apathy forever. Enough with the mood drop, Eros told himself. If he kept mopping around like this, how could he heal the wound in that girl's heart? An idea flashed in his mind, an apology campaign that had to be truly badass, a spectacular comeback to win back the small but proud heart of Psyche. The determination had been ignited, and the dying embers of love still had enough power for Eros to hatch a grand plan. Eros decided to go big. He wanted to create a truly unforgettable moment, an event that Psyche couldn't ignore. With his power, he transformed the entire central square of Olympus into a magnificent stage. Night fell, and the magical moonlight gently shone down on the space, thousands of stars twinkling in the night sky like flashlights cheering for the upcoming performance. Eros's heart thumped in his chest, both nervous and a little worried. He appeared wearing his sharpest suit, his hair meticulously styled. In his hand, he held the top-notch microphone he had painstakingly acquired. As the melodious music began, Eros took a deep breath and sang out in his golden voice a love opera made by himself. Every note, every lyric was filled with his heart and soul. The lyrics were as sweet as molasses, containing so much longing, regret, and sincere promises. The melody was so melodious that anyone who heard it would be moved, blown away by the romance. At the climax of the song, Eros gave a signal, and immediately colorful fireworks shot into the sky, drawing giant romantic heart shapes that were breathtakingly touching. From afar, in a small room overlooking the square, Psyche slightly parted the curtains. At first, she was just curious about what was happening. But when she recognized the familiar voice and the dazzling fireworks, her heart fluttered slightly. Despite trying to appear cold, she couldn't deny the romance that Eros had painstakingly created. Cheesy it was, but somewhere in Psyche's heart, a warm ray had sneaked in. After the somewhat failed serenade in terms of subtlety, the effectiveness of which Eros was still unsure about, he decided to switch to a material attack. Eros thought to himself perhaps a little extravagance would soften Psyche's heart, so a ton of luxury gifts were shipped right to her doorstep. The gifts were carefully wrapped and piled up high. There was a diamond ring as big as a goose egg, sparkling under the light as if wanting to blind anyone who looked at it. There were also branded clothes, limited edition versions designed by the top fashion houses of Olympus, so beautiful they were breathtaking. And then there was a full package, lifetime spa voucher at the most posh resorts in Olympus, promising wonderful moments of relaxation. Eros watched from afar, feeling quite smug. Material things were not lacking, he thought. Surely Psyche would give in to this generosity. But deep down, Eros still felt something was missing, something called sincerity. It was as if he was trying to buy back affection with money, a thought that made him feel a little uneasy. Would Psyche feel his sincerity, or would she just think that money can buy everything? Seeing that the romantic and material attacks weren't working very well, Eros began to feel helpless. He didn't know what to do to make Psyche forgive him. In desperation, he had to seek help from the elders and wise figures on Mount Olympus. First, Eros approached Hermes, the swift messenger god, famous for being a sly fox and an expert at creating drama. He told Hermes everything and asked for advice. Hermes smirked slyly and then suggested some badass, troll moves like writing love letters in a difficult code, or even pretending to have amnesia to make Psyche pity him. After hearing these weird suggestions, Eros just wanted to faint. Then he took a chance and asked Zeus, the powerful father of the gods, for advice. Zeus shrugged and said bluntly, "Just give her some expensive jewelry. What woman doesn't like that?" Eros just fell silent after hearing this, feeling that his father's advice was too superficial and lacked any real understanding of Psyche's feelings. Finally, in utter despair, he even sought out Hera, the noble mother of the gods. Hera took a sip of ambrosia and then advised him with experience. "You should try ignoring Psyche for a few days, and she'll automatically run after you." Eros just wanted to bang his head against the wall after hearing this. Who knew that all the gods he trusted would give such lousy advice that was completely counterproductive? From afar, Psyche overheard snippets of the gods' discussions about Eros's somewhat strange apology campaign. She couldn't help but chuckle at the laughable tricks he was trying to pull. However, alongside the amusement, she also felt a little disappointed. Did Eros really understand what she wanted, or was he just trying to follow the nonsense advice of others? Actually witnessing Eros's somewhat ridiculous efforts, Psyche's heart had softened a long time ago. The serenade, though cheesy, she had to admit was very sincere in Eros's own way. The effort and dedication he had put into it made it impossible for her to completely ignore. The fancy gifts were undoubtedly delightful. After all, what girl doesn't love beautiful things? Each gift made her smile slightly, but immediately afterward the anger returned. Eros's crime of not trusting her still haunted her. She wanted a truly heartfelt apology, an assurance from the bottom of his heart that he would never doubt her again. So even though her heart had melted a long time ago, Psyche still tried to pretend to be aloof, completely ignoring all signals from Eros. She didn't reply to the long text messages he sent every night, didn't even glance at the piles of gifts in front of her door, and even deliberately took different routes to avoid running into him. She wanted Eros to go through a little suffering, to really think about his mistakes and appreciate her feelings more. She wanted to see if Eros's patience and sincerity were strong enough to overcome her difficult attitude. Finally, after many days of Eros's persistent efforts like drizzle soaking in, even though Psyche was still a bit difficult, her heart had truly softened. She knew that even though Eros's way of expressing himself was sometimes clumsy, the love he had for her was real. A thought, both playful and wanting to test him, flashed in Psyche's mind. She wanted to see if Eros was truly serious about his apology. Her fingers lightly swiped across the screen, and she sent Eros a message with seemingly challenging content. You want me to forgive you? Fine, you have to climb to the top of Mount Olympus using a feather and sing a truly heartfelt apology song for the entire fairy world to hear. In Psyche's heart, a little worry and a lot of anticipation welled up. Would he dare to do something so crazy for her? Eros was absent-mindedly looking at Psyche's picture on his desk when his phone vibrated. After reading the message, he froze for 5 seconds. Climb Mount Olympus, the highest mountain, using a feather. Sing for all the gods to hear. His Psyche was really making things difficult for him. In the first moment, Eros felt overwhelmed and a little discouraged. But immediately after, the image of Psyche's radiant smile appeared in his mind, along with the deep regret for his past doubts. For love to atone for his mistakes and win back her heart, Eros gritted his teeth and decided to go all the way. He began to select the strongest feathers from his collection, carefully cherishing them as if they were the most important tools in the world. After that, he diligently practiced deep breathing, trying to regulate his heart rate and strength to prepare for this one-of-a-kind climb. It took him all day with the enthusiastic and often intentionally tripping him up, help of Hermes, who always enjoyed strange pranks, but finally Eros struggled his way to the top of the mountain. Each step slipped on the cliff face, the biting cold wind whipped at his face, but in Eros's heart there was only one thought: Psyche. Standing before all the gods who were eagerly watching, their curious and somewhat mocking gazes fixed on him, Eros took a deep breath. His chest heaved, a mix of nervousness, a little worry, but above all, sincerity filled him. He began to sing. Not the usual flowery, cheesy opera, but a self-composed song, the lyrics simple and honest, just like his heart. The melody wasn't elaborate, but it contained all his deepest emotions. Eros sang about his mistakes, about his regret for not trusting Psyche, about the deep and intense love he had for her, and about his promise from the bottom of his heart that he would always trust her unconditionally, no matter what happened. Eros's voice no longer had its usual confident, golden tone, but instead it was filled with sincerity, trembling slightly and even a little choked with emotion, causing all of Olympus, usually so noisy and bustling, to fall silent and listen. The gods, from the majestic Zeus to the noble Hera, were all surprised and moved by Eros's change and his heartfelt sincerity. From afar, Psyche stood hidden behind a large rock, listening to every word of Eros's song. At first, she tried to appear tough, but when she heard him sing about his mistakes and his sincere love, the defensive walls in her heart began to crumble. Each line of the song sank deep into Psyche's heart, stirring up emotions she had been trying to suppress for so long. Tears slowly rolled down her cheeks, not because of sadness, but because of emotion and regret. She had been too stubborn, too proud to recognize Eros's genuine love. When she heard the promise that he would always trust her unconditionally, Psyche couldn't hold back anymore. She rushed out from her hiding place, ran towards Eros, threw her arms around him, and burst into tears on his shoulder. "I'm sorry. I missed you so much, too." The moment of making up was sweeter than honey. All the anger and doubt in both of their hearts vanished. Eros held Psyche tightly in his arms, feeling the warmth and forgiveness from her. They shared a passionate kiss under the admiring and blessing eyes of all the gods on Mount Olympus. In that moment, Eros and Psyche vowed eternal love, a love that would overcome all storms and challenges, based on the foundation of trust and sincerity. Psyche and Eros finally mended their broken mirror, and their feelings sublimated even more than before. They walked hand in hand again, enjoying sweet moments together on Mount Olympus. But little did anyone know, a family storm was still waiting ahead. Aphrodite and those who were jealous had not yet given up their intention to separate the young lovers. Danger still lurked behind this fragile happiness. Would their love be strong enough to overcome everything? Let's wait and see what happens next. For now, goodbye and see you again.